Good day. Ken here, Ken's Hobbies. Today, put my old lawnmower out here. What I'm gonna do is see what we can do for a modification on it. What I want to do is I want to remove that front drive system in the front here. I want to remove that, possibly build some brackets, changing the wheels to the front to see if I can make this mower lighter for me to use, because it's just too heavy and too hard. So the first thing we got to do is we got to remove this handle so that I can maneuver this around easier. Now, there's two ways of removing this handle. Number one, we get a bolt here and original factory here that you can pull here, pull the handle out, or number two, split the handle here and here. But we're going to try, and this is going to be the problem one here, this bolt here, because it's countersunk in there, and I don't remember what socket I used, or if I did use a socket when I originally put this in some years ago. That was a deal that we got this in the first place at a reduced cheap rate, because all the bolts were missing. So we originally bought this with the missing bolts, and I put it together because I had a ton of selection of bolts. So I also strapped my cables down so they wouldn't be catching on things. And that looks like it's riveted into place. This is the one we're going to be removing. Start with that. I'm going to say goodbye to this rod. Okay, get my needle nose. Let's just feel this before I get that. Side cutters here. And remove some of these zap straps. Okay, that gives a little more freedom. So this is the one that's coming out. Okay, we gotta, seems like there's a twist in this cable here. Okay, let's try to figure out what size that is. First of all, make sure the channel is free from any debris, and it appears like it's a 10 millimeter. Being a Honda, it should be a 10. Oh, that's lovely. No. Where is my 10 millimeter socket? Great. Seems every time I go to do something, I'm looking for friggin' tools. One of these days, I've got to go through all my sockets. I got about 2 or 3 different sets here, all which are incomplete. So it's time to go through all my sockets and eliminate most of them. Just put together one complete set. Well, that doesn't belong in here. Well, I just see a quick repair that I'll do in my toolbox. can't win for losing. One little piece here to hold my sockets down. I'm trying to get it back up, and lo and behold, something is always getting underneath the bar strip. I'll show you in a minute here what I'm talking of. Get out of there. Lovely. The hell is that even? Oh, some kind of a special tool. I can't remember for what. Okay, I need one more. Oh, of course. Why is it every time you need something, all the smallest items always get to the bottom of your can? Okay, I said I'd show you the issue here. Things got underneath here. Now I want to pull the socket off of here, and it pulled my pop rivet out of here, lifting the bar and bending here. Everything getting underneath this. So what I did for repair, got my old 1/4-inch dry socket here. About this set of here of extensions here for the impact drill from Princess Auto. I just dug a couple of self-tapping threading screws here. I put it down here, so put that back in. Anyhow, back to looking for a 10mm socket. Well, finally found a 10mm socket. Yep. Okay, that's one. The other one was the only factory one that came with the mower. Okay, before I get too far, okay, let's figure this out. Okay, there's got to be some kind of a way. This is where I wish my buddy was here. He would know the answers. Me, it's study and figure it out. It's just like this. Like on a car engine, you either got a side clamp that holds the cable down for its setting, or an adjustment on the end with a bracket. But there again, you see, that's the difference. I'm automotive mechanic, whereas Richard is a small engine mechanic. So, what did I just do? Somehow, okay, I see what I did. Well, obviously, is that a pin or is it a screw? It feels like it's a pin. It's some kind of a pin because there's no slot there for any type of a screwdriver. Well, I've got to get that cable out of there. It has to come somehow out of there. How else, if you ever had to replace the cable, would you replace it if it doesn't come out? Maybe this is the answer. Aha! We got it. So, that is a different setup to what I am used to. Okay, well, we got it off. Okay, let's pull this handle out of here. If you can, it should come. Oh, quit rolling on me. We gotta stop it from rolling. Okay. Holy smokes, how far in does that go down? Well, tight, that cable's tight now. Ah, great. Ah, oh boy. Looks like I gotta split that handle. Okay, so we'll split the handle, that being the case. Yeah, what size did I use there? Looks like I used a... How does this cable come off? Okay. When we squeeze that down, it pulls it this way, okay? Oh boy! Okay, well, gotta be a way to achieve this. Aha! Now, what? Does this come out, or does it snap out, or what? Is the next question. Would be nice if I had a manual that it would tell me a few things. But when you don't have, it's figure it out. I got such a limited room. Okay, how does that come? What kind of a setup did they do? What does Honda use here? With it disconnected, you'd think it looks like it'd be turned in a certain position to get off. It can't be. Does it pop off? Does it clip in? I can't tell because I don't know. Richard, where are you? Do I have to make a phone call? Almost looks like it. Well, I've sure seen simpler methods than this. This is one of the reasons why I never bothered getting into small engines. So detailed. It has to come off. If I can this, so I can see it better. Looks like it squeezes. Okay, let's try squeezing it. Aha! That was it. Okay. Cable is off. Oh boy. I need a bigger shop or a major cleanup or a combination of both. Combination of both would be not to my advantage, that's for sure. Now, there. Now, we get our starting rope. Okay, to get our start cord off, this looks fairly easy. Something's easy. I don't believe it. There we are. Now we can get rid of this handle out of the way completely. Okay, now take this cable. Looks like one bolt there and one bolt there, and this looks like it's a cover. Okay, I need a 3/8 drive extension. I just had one in my hand. Here it is. be somewhere else. Some more bolts. Nothing under there that I can see. Okay, let's turn this on its side. Now looks like we'll get start with the wheels first. I don't see any more bolts. Ah, okay, I just found a whole pile more. Now how are you supposed to get a socket in that one? We have 2 bolts, one here, and here, and one in here. We can get this one, or can we? Oh boy. That seems to be a smaller size. And practically need a flat, deep socket in order to get there. Okay. This is one of the biggest reasons I got out of the trade even as an automotive mechanic. Same things happening here with small as I see happening in the automotive. Robots taking over the human hand. There was constantly 10 million tools needed. In my first marriage, I kept having to, with all the new stuff keep coming out, new tools required. So it's constantly having to buy tools to get anything done. My first wife then, I still remember when she says, "Why am I always buying tools?" My response was, "Oh, well, if you want to eat, I got to do the job, and I need tools for the job." She never argued or said anything after that. And it's just gotten worse every year, constantly. Things changing, making it impossible. It's just ever since the 80s started, the mid-80s, the throwaway generation. And now it's just about all that way. Built to last so long, throw away. I am so against the throw away. We need to turn that calendar back to the days, fix things. But the biggest cause of our problems today, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, one word: greed. If we look at what the Bible says, and the Bible clearly says, for the root of all evil is money. What is our greed there? And the worst ones for greed is our local government itself. And the second part that causes the greed. Every time I hear a strike, I'll go by the picket line and I have a saying. My saying is, quit the striking, quit the hiking. It seems to me nobody can understand what I mean by that. I don't care what the strike is for. You're going to always win when you go on strike. But what it does, it causes everything to go up. So how much farther did one gain from going on strike in the first place? You don't. Instead of moving forward these days, we're going backwards. That's my opinion. Well, I gotta figure out how to get these 4 bolts out of here. Somehow we gotta achieve it. I got a 10mm socket here, but it's so thick. That's another thing. When it comes to tools, thickness of the socket itself. Some companies make it thick like this one, and other ones make it thinner. I've literally seen myself having to grind the end down here to get to fit onto a bolt. I'm going to see what happens here. I guarantee it's not going to fit this front one here. Just about a millimeter of space to put that socket on. Let's see if I can't get a shot of what I'm trying to explain here. Get the old flashlight out here. Hopefully can get you a view of what I am looking at. There's a screw. There's a screw there. So I'm assuming they'll have the same thing here and here. That is the distance I got between edges of the bolt to the design of the framing. As you can see, the thickness of my screwdriver is that thick, and it just fit in there. When you look at my 10mm socket, you see how much thicker that is to that screwdriver, and therefore the socket will not get onto that bolt. So I gotta find me a thinner one, and that bugs me because every manufacturer that makes these sockets have different thicknesses to the outside shank here. Some are thin and others are thicker at this point. I need a thin one here. That being said, reminds me of one of the biggest reasons I hung up my toolbox in the 80s, early 80s, as an automotive mechanic. When I saw what was happening with the vehicles and computers being introduced to vehicles, I foresee what was about to happen. That was my first clue. And I made an oath that if the first computer that would go on the fritz, and if it was a woman that owned the vehicle, and they ask, why does the computer have to be changed? Which is a very logical question. How do you answer that question when the computer brain, as I call it, is in one solid piece, just like this cell phone is right at this moment? When I learned electronics back in the 60s, I worked in a TV shop where a capacitor would blow or a resistor would burn. Well, it was just a matter of replacing that capacitor or that resistor, soldering the old one out and soldering a new one in. We can't have that anymore. This cell phone right here is a good example of that. How do you replace, and this is my second phone of this particular model. My first one dropped out of my pocket when I was doing that, and it's probably in that video, I don't recall. It was when I was working on the sun deck and doing my security camera for the boathouse. It was either one of those two videos. Well, I'm sure it was the security when I was putting the boathouse camera in. I'm sure it's on that one. But when I was doing it, it fell out of my pocket and hit the concrete, cracking the corner here. Well, eventually what happened with the phone, I took it in to get a new faceplate put on, and they says, oh, they're not worth it. It costs more to put that plate on than it would to replace the phone. My buddy Richard, he did have an identical phone, and he says, I got an identical matching phone. I just upgraded mine. So this is great. I got it off of him, and that saved me almost $200. He also had this protection case on here, so to protect that from happening again. I got noticing that this has one nice little funk feature to it. Lock that down, so if you're watching a video, you can do that now. Or if you're taking a video using the camera, well, that is the correct position to take that video. Not this way. Just like Mum's old box camera. Speaking of Mum's old box camera, you've heard me say it before many a time. Cell phone versus Mum's old box camera. So I thought I'd dig it out today and I'll show it to you. This is my Mum's old box camera. Now, there's our carrying strap. There's our cell phone. I have both of these now in the vertical position. Now, with the cell phone, that is the face of the plate where you're seeing your picture and when you're taking your video. Okay, now with the box camera, here is your viewer. So when you're taking the picture, you're viewing your object, you're going to take it there. And here is the shutter. I just took a vertical picture. Okay, now for a horizontal picture, turn the camera this way. If you notice, you see the two eyes right there. 1 and 2. This one here associates with this viewer. This one here associates with that viewer. So now I have this camera in the horizontal position. Aim my picture and took the picture. As you can hear, this camera still is working. The trouble is with this camera, when you went to change a film in it, pull this knob out, releasing the lock on the film. Open the back door. Very simple operation. You pull the cartridge out. You put your new roll of film on here, threaded it through here, down and through here, and it would take up on the empty reel here. One reel always stayed with the camera. So you see with the little spring here, it would keep the film tight as every time you turn that dial on the outside, roll up the film to the next frame. The trouble is, this takes a C120 film. Well, try to get a C120 film now is next to impossible. And if you do manage to find one, you're paying them through the nose. That it does not make it worth. When you got the film, this was your little eye. It would tell you what frame number you were at. It only takes 8 pictures. Last time I went to buy a film for this camera, they wanted $10, if I remember right, and that was in the 80s, for all of 10 pictures, or 8 pictures, correction. This is how you wound it to the next frame. So, again, that was the horizontal position for your scenic pictures. Same thing with this, your cell phone. Don't get this right yet. It gives me time because I keep forgetting that with the camera, the video camera taking, and you're looking, it's the opposite to there. But you see, same thing. Let's do it right. 1 and 2. Now this camera was built back in the 40s. And like I said, it's still working. I treasure that camera. And I keep it in this plastic bag. And I keep it in my desk drawer. So now you know the camera that I have been talking about when you've heard me talk about a box camera. Well, that is the box camera. Exactly the same thing with this cell phone. When you're taking a video, fine this way if you're taking of just a person. But if you're taking anything of background scenery, you want that phone that position so that you get a full-fledged video, not just the center of the video when you're playing it on a computer. That's my biggest beef since the introduction of these things called the cell phone, which they call smartphones. Yeah, everything seems to be smart now. And that's why in a lot of my videos I put some of the old comments from the original TV show that was called Get Smart. That show was back in the 60s. How come 20 years later or more, all of a sudden everything's smart this, smart that, smart this, smart that. And no matter what, smartphones. Take our old analog meters for our hydro. Oh, that was too good. Oh, we gotta go digital. We're introducing the smart meter. Yeah, right. Now hydro can put whatever they want for a figure on your bill. And we went from clean power to dirty power. And I have evidence in my hand, proof of that. In 1 month of the billing, the rate went from $168 that we were paying for our hydro for a month, approximately, on the average. All of a sudden, the new bill comes with these new so-called smart meters, and it's almost $300. Now you tell me that I am wrong in what I say, and I'll believe it. Because, again, there's that word greed. One word that is destroying our economy and everything to this day. Greed. If we look at the Bible plainly says, for the root of all evil is money. Now, I have another story here. Strikes. I'm going to touch on that. Every time I hear of a strike, I go by the picket lines and I say, quit the striking, quit the hiking. It seems to me nobody can understand that message. It doesn't matter. Go on strike. Sure, you'll get what you want on your strike. But what do you cause in return? Everything goes up in price because you got more money out of that strike. What did you cost the whole entire rest of the people to do? Now they got to pay more for their items because of your strike. So do you get ahead with striking? The answer, no. All you do is cause more inflation. And that's what we have. I remember, and I'll give you some examples. Gasoline for your vehicle. When I was a teenager, it was only 2 bits a gallon. Now those of you who don't know what 2 bits is, that was 25 cents. A gallon. Now we're in the metric system, so it's for 1 gallon in the old system equals 4.54 liters. Equals 1 gallon. What are we paying now? Because our fuel is now purchased by the liter. Almost $2 a liter here in Canada. The last time I went past the pump was $1.68 a liter. Multiply $1.68 times 4.54. And there was your cost of a gallon of gasoline today compared to the 60s. Another thing, my camera did shut off, so that's why I'm redoing this with my second. Here's an example right here. Make things difficult. Here's the question. Why are these manufacturers making every year it more difficult to work on? I'll gladly answer that. Because they don't want you repairing anything anymore. This trend started in the mid-80s. Even my brother was guilty and I jumped on him, my blood brother. And he had the attitude of out with the old and in with the new. I turned around and I told my brother back then, I says, it's guys like you that are causing the inflation. Sure, it's nice if you got lots of money and money to burn. But what about the poor people? You never think of them. Oh, it seems to me that if you're poor or a low income, you're thrown into what they call the unwanted gang, just like your age. Well, I'm going to close this video off here at this point here and say thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe, hit that like button, make your comments, etc., etc., etc. Till the next time, we'll say catch you on the next one. Adios.